Hello all, and I would like to thank you for my reappointment as the Lawrence J. Giacoletto Endowed Chair in Electrical and Computer Engineering, and to apologize in advance for giving this talk virtually. I'm actually doing the work of the chair this very week, attending the IEEE Robotics and Man Conference to give a free STEM education workshop for kids in K through 12. So let's get started on an update on my impact, my accomplishments, and my future look at being the endowed chair in robotics for the streets, research, service, and outreach. So first, let's review my vision for my chairship. So recall that I am a robotics engineer and electrical engineer, so all of my work centers around robotics, which robotics is a multidisciplinary field that is an intersection of software, mechanics, electronics, human interaction. So it hits upon all parts of STEM as well as STEAM. And the great thing about that is because it hits on so many different topics, I can use it for research, service, education, and to serve as a Rose-Hulman ambassador. So the things I plan to do with my endowed chairship and what I have done in the past is to create courses on educational robotics, open source robotics, human robot interaction, to conduct research on those topics, and to also give service opportunities for the community at large on robotics, STEM, and STEAM, and to be an ambassador where I speak on topics such as diversity in STEM, bias in AI, robotics education, open source robotics, and the need for having open source robotics in order to make it more inclusive and accessible to a broader swath of the community by taking away the firewalls of paywalls or for taking away patents, and to give people the knowledge and the resources by giving them a low-cost modular platform that they can use in order to teach robotics to young people as well as not so young people. So as part of this work, some of the accomplishments that I have already achieved in my Robotics for the Streets as the endowed chair since 2021 is I have mentored 16 undergraduate research students formally, and I've also had at least 4 or 5 students to just pop by the lab, curious about what we're doing, and maybe do work with me for a day. I've received 2 grants, including the Open Source Hardware Association Trailblazer Fellow for $50,000, and a grant from the Indiana DOE that I co-PI'd with Nikki Mannion in order to get CS workshops into the hands of K through 12 teachers. And I would like to thank all the other faculty who are helping me to offer those workshops this year. I also serve as the visiting scientist at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. I'm the inaugural visiting scientist. I started this role in January 2024 and it will end in December. I've also given numerous presentations and talks and podcasts, including a few that I was most excited about, including speaking on Afrofuturism and STEM at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, speaking on ChatGPT and AI as part of the IEEE Vision Summit in Atlanta, being the Open Hardware Summit keynote lecturer on Robotics for the Streets, open source robotics for academics and the community, being the Santa Clara University Distinguished Lecturer on Mitigating Bias in Robotics and AI, working with Rose-Hulman Women to give the TEDx RHIT Women's History Month event in March of this year, being Women and High Tech Spring Network event keynote speaker, hosting an IAESTE summer research student from Nairobi, Kenya, Grace Mugo, who left recently, and launching the multidisciplinary educational robotics lab, the MERL, which will be in Myers 225, and it's where we will host robotics drop-ins for anyone in the Rose-Hulman community who wants to learn more about robotics, build a robot, program a robot, etc. And some of my most proud accomplishments was the design of my open source robots, the flower bots, including RosieBot, LilyBot, DaisyBot, etc. These robots have now been used and integrated into summer camps, as well as into classrooms all around the United States and the world. So here are just a few samplings of those. The DaisyBot was used for Spark 2023. I also have taught workshops using these robots for K through 12 teachers, for engineering educators, as well as for teachers who have found my designs on social media, such as TikTok, and now uses them to 3D print the robots for their kids, and to use my Hackster.io and Instructables and YouTube channel in order to teach more educators how to do robotics for all ages. Even educational robotics can be very expensive, $200 to $300. Robotics competitions can be in the thousands for kids to participate. So if you're from an under-resourced area, it's very difficult to get involved. And even if we get past the cost, sometimes there's a knowledge barrier. You just may not have teachers or adults in your area who know enough about electronics, mechanics, and software to be able to help you with robotics projects. I have created an open source robot that is mostly 3D printed, which means it's low cost. And because it's open source, that means it takes care of the access problem, where anyone who can get to the internet and can get to YouTube can look at how to make their own robot, print it, and program it. So I came up with this idea because it was a way to get teachers and communities like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and things like that into robotics without them having to break the bank. What they're going to learn today is how the 3D printed robot was made, as well as how to convert it as your skill level improves. So we're going to start with graphical programming like Makey or Blockly by using Make microbits, and then we're going to move on to Arduino Uno, which is text-based. So as we're changing the controller on the robot, it's going from K through 12, elementary, to college level, university level, and maybe even graduate school, so that one robot is growing with you as your skills improve. No matter what your area is, because robotics is multidisciplinary, you will now be able to use that whether you are in computer science, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, social psychology, human-robot interaction. You can use it to touch on your field in order to teach people more about artificial intelligence and about what you want them to know just by using that same robot.
This is how you build and program your robot. First, we assembled the robot by watching a YouTube tutorial. Then we wired the robot. Then we created a code for the robot to perform. The most challenging part was wiring the robot. The most interesting part was coding the robot and watching it perform. Thank you so much for watching this. Please give me an A.
So one of my other most proudest accomplishments was finally getting to launch my children's books. These were launched in March of 2024, and I had a vision for writing more kids STEM books so that kids could see themselves doing STEM. And so there are 5 so far. I already have ideas for at least 5, maybe more. I've already gotten them in the Children's Museum here in Indianapolis. I've gotten some in the Nashville Science Museum as well. And I have talked to Girl Scouts and several other organizations, including the public library, the Indianapolis Public Library, Plainfield and Carmel libraries as well, about putting these on their shelves. So this is another way that I'm bringing robotics to the streets. So as an indication of my impact, been several things I've done, including being on WRTV6 and Wish TV, even most recently on Wish TV, representing women in high tech last week, and also representing the Children's Museum earlier this year during Black History Month. I have also recently been named one of Forbes 50 over 50 due to my innovation through my company, Noir STEMinist and Open Source Robotics, and doing robotics work through Black in Robotics and Black in Engineering. I was excited to be profiled as a princess with power tools as well in their calendar this year, and receiving the ASEE ECE Distinguished Engineering Educator Award in 2022, the IEEE Undergraduate Teaching Award in 2022, and the SWE Distinguished Engineering Educator in 2023, where I not only received the award, but I was featured in their ad campaign, and there were billboards of me on the LA Convention Center as well as all over. And here is one of our Rose alumni taking a picture of me in front of one of those billboards. And also receiving the Grace Hopper Celebration Abby Award for Education Innovation and the 2022 Indiana Business Journal Women of Influence. So the journey continues. The Robotics for the Streets continues. My plan is to launch a human-robot interaction class this spring based upon the research work that my students did this summer, to do the Multidisciplinary Educational Robotics Lab will now have drop-in hours that I will share with the community when you can come in and build your very own robot and learn how to program it, wire the electronics, and then take it home and teach other people in your house, your community, your kiddos about it as well. Continue my open source robotics research work with students, hopefully more IAEST and Rose Research Fellows students, and continue speaking and giving workshops on diversity in STEM, bias in AI, open source robotics, and human robot interaction. So in conclusion, thank you again for reappointing me as the Lawrence J. Giacoletto Endowed Chair. I aspire to continue to bring impact around this most important topic in order to diversify STEM.